20 food items that never, ever expire. Well, some of these aren't going to last indefinitely, but they do last a long, long time. And after all, you're not going to last indefinitely either. Now, what I recommend for food storage is to have food storage that you rotate through. So you really only need, 3 to 5 years shelf stable items. But it gives you a nice sense of food security to have items that last much longer. So let's look at 20 of these items. Well, we all know that preppers love their beans and their rice, right? Mainstays of food storage. And there is a reason for that. Beans like in a package like this is pinto beans, could last 3 to 4 years, but it would gradually start drying up. So you want to vacuum pack them or pack them with oxygen absorbers in mylar bags or containers for long-lasting beans that you can rehydrate. Of course, the longer the beans are in storage, the longer it will take to rehydrate your beans. If you want to know how to properly store beans, check out my absolutely the best way to store bean video. Now, a great side dish and meal extender is rice. And there's a lot of different varieties of it, but brown rice, it just doesn't store very long. Now, I suggest that you store parboiled rice because it has fewer calories, fewer carbohydrates, more protein, and more fiber, and it's a source of iron and calcium. And rice stored properly will last from 25 to 30 years, and that is even according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture and U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Now, again, if you want to know how to properly store rice, watch my video, Best Ways to Store Rice Long-Term and Pest-Free. If you aren't gluten intolerant, consider storing wheat berries. These wheat berries store a lot longer than already ground flour, and you can grind them up to make flour, or you can use them in other dishes similar to rice, and you can make pudding of them and cereal. They're really, really versatile. And something like this will last 25 to 30 years. And that way you can have a lot of fresh bread on your dinner table because you were prudent enough to store wheat berries. Oats, an excellent storage item that can keep to 25 to 30 years if stored properly. Again, vacuum pack or store with oxygen absorbers. They can stay on your shelf for 25 to 30 years. And of course, we all know this makes a great breakfast and great cookies, but it has many, many other baking uses. You can even grind it and make bread. So, oats is one of those long lasting items that you should consider to store. I think we've all heard that honey's shelf life is indefinite. I mean, they found it 3,000 years old in King Tut's tomb and another archaeological site 5,500 years old, and it was still edible. And honey, in addition to being a fantastic sweetener, has medicinal purposes because part of how the bees make honey, it has hydrogen peroxide produced, and it's kind of a natural antibiotic properties. So it's great for wound healing and burn healing. And of course, honey can also make an alcoholic drink called mead. Now, your honey may solidify or crystallize in your jar, and all you have to do is pop it in the microwave to heat it up a little, or put it in a pan of heated water, put your whole jar in, and it will come back to the great honey consistency. So, be sure to keep some honey on your shelf. And I should say, that they say both raw and pasteurized honey have an indefinite shelf life as long as it's tightly sealed and kept in a cool, dark place. Sugar also has an indefinite shelf life, but you have to be careful because if moisture gets into it, you're going to have a solid clump. So don't pack it though with oxygen absorbers or vacuum pack it, because then for sure you'll have a sugar brick. But sugar will keep indefinitely. It just might not be in this nice, pouring form. I've had this jar of Kernel syrup, corn syrup, on my shelf for a long time, and I don't worry about it. Because guess what Kernel says? It says that this syrup is safe to eat whether it's open or unopened. It has an indefinite shelf life. So you may want to also store some Kernel syrup in case you want to make some imitation pancake syrup or some candies or other baked goods. 100% maple syrup. I mean that real stuff, not the imitation stuff. Will last forever if the seal isn't broken and you keep it in a cool, dark place. Just like honey, if it does crystallize or solidify, you can warm it up in warm water, put the whole container in, and then you have some wonderful syrup to pour on your pancakes. Salt does not expire. 100% pure salt has an indefinite shelf life, and I can't imagine cooking or eating without it. I mean, wars were even fought over getting salt, right? Now, there are many, many different types of salt. If you have 100% pure salt, it will keep indefinite. But a lot of salts, like think of your Himalayan pink salt, well, the pink are minerals in it. Or if you think of table salt, it often has anti-caking agent in it. Or iodized salt has, of course, iodine in it. So it does depend on your type of salt. But even then, that might discolor your salt, but your salt will still keep forever and it will not make you sick. But if you can, try to store salt that is 100% pure. I myself store iodized salt because I have a thyroid condition, as many people do in the north. So that is prudent for me. And if you want to know how I store salt, watch this video. And baking soda, it's also has a long, long shelf life, way past its best buy date. But gradually over time, it may lose potency. Oh, and I should mention, this combined with vinegar is a great cleaning solution. Cornstarch. I use this a lot as a thickening agent, when making sauces and gravy. And it also has an indefinite shelf life. You just have to keep it away from moisture and bugs. Popcorn kernels. Yep, they have an indefinite shelf life. But over time, you might not get the pop you want from them because the older they are, the less they're going to have pop and have a nice fat popcorn. Now, you can add a little water and allow the popcorn to sit in it for a couple days to rehydrate and then drain in the existing water, and that will help your popping action. But if your popcorn becomes too dry, you can always grind it and make cornmeal. Vanilla extract, #1 extract used in baking. And I'm talking about the pure 100% vanilla extract, not that imitation stuff. This has an indefinite shelf life because it has an alcohol base. Now, I have to mention this because my husband couldn't live without chocolate, I think. And there is no chocolate that has an indefinite shelf life. But cocoa powder will keep for a long, long time. Cooks Illustrated did a test for cocoa powder that was 6 years past its expiration date, and really only half the experts could tell, and they said it was only a minor difference. So you may want to keep some cocoa powder in your extended food storage. When we usually think of condiments, we think of mustard, ketchup, maybe mayonnaise. None of those have a long shelf life, but the one that does, soy sauce. And we love Asian cooking. So we have this kind is for sushi, and then we have regular soy sauce and low sodium soy sauce. But soy sauce has an indefinite shelf life. Another item, vinegar, both apple cider and white distilled vinegar. Indefinite shelf life. Over time, it will decrease a bit in its acidity, but it will never go bad. And again, needed for pickling and cooking and for cleaning. And if you're interested in all the uses of vinegar, watch this video, 30 plus vinegar hacks, surprising uses from cleaning to pest repellent. Well, don't forget to store drinks in your food storage. In fact, water should be the first thing that you store. And according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, they regulate bottled water. It's determined there is no limit to the shelf life of bottled water. Unopened, it will keep indefinitely, though the taste could be impacted by storage, depending on what it's stored near. But it's best if it isn't exposed to sunlight. Well, many of you are coffee addicts out there. And freeze-dried coffee, instant coffee is not exactly Starbucks. But it would help for your cravings, and this can keep for 20 years or more. So, might help give that caffeine buzz you're used to each morning. You know what? Tea rarely spoils also if it's stored properly. Over time, it may lose some of its flavor, but it has a long, long shelf life. Now, many prepping sites list hard liquor as a bartering item because indefinite shelf life. As long as it doesn't have any, like Bailey's Irish Cream or mixers added in, it will last forever. And depending what will happen, you might want to have this to toast the world goodbye. Just kidding. I hope you're watching all 30 days of preparedness. We have some great videos planned for you. I have the channels down below, so make sure to subscribe to them and watch every single video so you and your family can be more resilient to anything that comes your way. Thanks. It's Prepper Potpourri saying, share the knowledge.